We're at the apex, come down on the apron, we're braking, and we gotta slow down to 55, like that. Hi everyone, this is Josh from Finding Speed Now. We are going to be doing a track guide for Chicagoland, and we are going to be going over the qualification, long run, and talking about some aero stuff that I think is going to be applicable for Chicagoland. One note is the track is very hot, and so you have to make sure you take that into consideration, especially in terms of like qualifications times. My qualification times that I have aren't quite as good as what I had before, but I think it's mainly because the track before was a little bit cooler. And so we'll jump into the car. All right, here. So we are jumping into qualification. I wanted to put a shout out to a couple of different people. One is Major's Garage for their setups that I use throughout the weeks, and additionally I was talking to one of my buddies, DJPlayz TV on Twitch, if you want to go follow him. He was giving me some tips and stuff about Chicagoland and how to actually like run it well, because he normally does really well here. So for qualification, as kind of normal, you start up high, get on full throttle as soon as you can. You want to try to get to your speed up to about 185, which that wasn't even close. So, but your goal really is to have that first lap start heating up your tires. If you start getting loose, make sure you're lifting just a little bit. But you are trying to get to full throttle as quick as possible, and the second lap should be your money lap. When we come around here, make sure you keep that speed up, get to full throttle as soon as you can. You're really playing on that looseness, and that's really how you get enough rotation to actually make the corner. So 184 at the line, not too bad. You don't do a complete lift here. A little bit tight. Let's give it throttle to make it rotate. There we go. And lift. I should be able to make that stick. Cut down to the apron to save a little bit of time. 30.72. There's definitely still some more time you can find and with that, but I think that's going to be a decent lap time. Like I had said in the kind of the intro of the video, is this the track temp is 106, so it is quite toasty. Alright, so with that track temp being hot, you need to make sure you could take that into consideration in the longer run. You need to make sure you're listening to your car and not overdriving. Because if you're overdriving, you're going to burn off that right front, and you're going to lose a ton of speed because you're not going to be able to make the exits of the corners. So you want to make sure that you are lifting approximately there where the light was. Then you're going to be getting onto throttle relatively early, but not getting to full throttle until you have your wheel pretty much straight. I mean, that's kind of like a key skill with all oval racing. You want to make sure you get that good entry. If you don't make it all the way to the bottom, don't force it. You're just going to burn your right front off. You make sure you listen to your car your first few laps on the long run. You want to be running kind of as close as you can to your qualification speed, but you want to listen to your car to see what it's capable of. And additionally, because in the first few laps you're going to be around other cars, you want to make sure that you are paying attention to where cars are at, and paying attention to the dirty air. Because if you don't pay attention to that dirty air, you're going to be driving what you expect to be, you know, your full 100% grip, but you're not going to be able to maintain that. Alright, so entry, make sure you get it down pointed like that. A little bit tight. I would get back on the throttle and still be able to make the exit. So I know that I got tight, so I want to make sure that I'm lifting a little bit earlier into turn 1 and 2, so that I make sure that I am saving that right front. So lift point back here a little bit, back on the throttle. Now I'm not nearly as tight as I was. Start pushing it. I think I got a bit better exit speed. Lift. And then as the run goes on, you're going to start switching from that high to low line to kind of high to mid. You really just have to listen to the car as it starts to fall down in here. If you can get turned down and it keeps going, or not like that, getting tight, little slides and little things like that, it's not a big deal as long as you're listening to your car. And so now we know the last couple times I did get a bit tight going into in the mid corner of turn 1 and 2. So we're going to lift a bit earlier. Start getting back on throttle. There we go. No tightness that time. So now I know my limits for where I need to go ahead and lift there. It's kind of an easy way to kind of learn what the car is capable of at that time and make it to where you're not overdriving the car. Back on throttle, 50%, 60, 75, 100. So really we're just gonna do this for like 30, 40 more laps. And I will see you at about lap 40. So fast forward. So one thing I wanted to highlight while we're fast forwarding through these laps is you want to watch out for dirty air. Because whenever you're in dirty air, you're going to have less grip. You need to make sure that you're taking that into consideration when you are coming into corners and out of corners, because otherwise you're going to end up in the wall. And that's going to hurt your tire wear, and just make sure you're driving under the limit of the car with the aero that you have. Alright you guys, so here we are at lap 35. I had a couple things that I'm going to show you here in a little bit about being able to recover from overheating your tires. So we'll snap back to that. Alright, so we are here and we are on lap 31. My lap time for 31 was 33.0 and then 33.1. I wanted to highlight a couple corners here where I got loose, and then as you can see, I actually underdrove this lap specifically to then a couple laps later to be able to get back to the 33.1s that I was running, several laps prior. So even though I overheated my tires there, I kind of accepted it, kind of underdrove that lap in order to get my tire temperatures cool again. So here's kind of what happened. On this corner, I got a little bit too aggressive, and I was sliding my right rear a little bit more than what I wanted to. That one wasn't too bad compared to this one that's coming up. And I got real loose on this one. And then, so for this one, we're on lap 32. Lap time was 33.1. So I think this is the one I still didn't quite underdrive it enough. And I got loose again. Kind of a combination of me overdriving that last one. So as we come in here, and then so lap 33, time was a 33.4. So I underdrove that lap to then be able to, you know, recover the tires and not, you know, snowball it. That's very important here. You don't want to snowball your problems and keep trying to drive as if you have the same grip you did before, especially with this hot track temperature. And then, so now we're going to go ahead and do a green flag pit stop. We've done 36 laps on these tires. We'll finish one more lap. I was already on turn 3 and 4, so I wasn't ready to pit. You do have to start braking a bit earlier than what you would think here. And we'll see if we can kind of nail it the first time here. So because I got loose there, as I'm coming into the pits, it's probably going to want to kind of come around on me a bit more. Start getting back up on throttle, start braking once you're at the apex, come down on the apron, we're braking, we got to slow down to 55, like that. So that's a decent pit stop. Let's see what the tire wear is for me after 37 laps, just to give you a kind of an example. 72 front right, 864 right rear, so I'm still pushing it a bit hard out of the corners. Which is probably why, I mean, I'll show you some lap times here in a minute. And alright everyone, so thank you guys for watching my track guide. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope I was able to make it a little bit shorter this time and not be like 15-20 minutes long. That's because I cut out a big chunk of the laps instead of just fast forwarding them. So if you guys did like them, go ahead and like and subscribe. I wanted to again thank you, DJ, and for some of the tips. I hope this helps you guys, and go ahead and keep finding speed.